afternoon, everyone. If I can have your attention, we're getting underway here this morning. The live stream will be out in the hallway as well if anybody wants to step outside and necessarily be inside. We have Reverend Craig Bean this morning. This afternoon is going to officiate part of the service before opening up some sharing for all of you. Right?
Good afternoon, everyone. My deepest sympathies to everyone. I know you're shocked. I know that you're numb, and I know this is a difficult time. And yet, I know it's important that you all be together, especially for David's family. We're here to celebrate David's life, to thank God for the gift he has been and will always be in your hearts. To that end, there are a few people who have some prepared remarks that they'll be sharing with us in just a moment. And just by way of introduction to this time, this won't be a sermon. This won't be a long religious time. But for those of you who, like myself, look to God for help in times like this, I encourage you to do that. And I would remind all of us, or tell all of us, and perhaps you don't know, but the shortest, the most succinct two words in the Bible, the shortest verse in all of the scriptures are two words. Jesus wept. Jesus cried at the graveside of his dear friend Lazarus, and he understands grief. The scriptures actually also say that God is the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort. And my prayer for all of you is that you will feel that comfort and compassion through each other and through the presence of God with you. And that ends my sermon. But I hope it's something you're able to take to heart and find strength in these moments together. Because in sharing and in remembering, certainly there are tears. And certainly it can be difficult, but there's also deep, great joy and gratitude. And that gratitude is what I hope we all feel in these moments together. So to that end, I'm going to invite Donnie, David's brother-in-law, to come and begin the sharing time. And then Donna is going to come after. And there are a couple of others who are going to come. In fact, I believe Cameron's going to come after Donnie has spoken. So Donnie, would you come, please?
Good afternoon. So I met David when I was 9 or 10 years old at Potnet's Community Pool in Long Neck, Delaware. I immediately knew that David was honoring. He showed me that you could carefully remove the pool skimmer cover made out of heavy metal and skip it across the surface. And the lifeguard wasn't watching. Our friendship progressed, and David asked me if I was allowed out after dark. So I obtained permission. So we began walking the dirt roads of Potnet's. And as we're walking, we walk past the homes that on the back side of the property had the main power shut off with a big handle. David proceeds to tell me if you pull that handle, all the lights will go out. People won't know, so they'll call the power company and sit inside in the dark until the power company comes. So intrigued, we continue walking and come up on a house. It has a porch light on, maybe one or two. He says, "Watch this." So he carefully sneaks up and pulls his handle. The lights go out. We take off running and laughing. We continue walking. So then we come up on a house that has basically every light on, inside and out. It is lit up like the sun. David looks at me and says, "Your turn." So I carefully sneak up to this power box, and I get right ready to pull outdone at 10 years old. I pull the lever and the lights go out, and no sooner I do this, I hear people screaming, hollering, running at me. So I take off, run for my life. I finally catch David, and he is absolutely hysterical. I say, David, those people came out and chased me. He, laughing hysterically, says, yeah, I know they were sitting on their porch. Little did I know years later he would marry my sister. I had nothing to do with that. And be the most amazing husband, father, brother, brother-in-law, and my source of strength and comfort through some very trying times in my life. I don't know, honestly, where I would be without having had David in my life. I have so many good memories of David, and I can't say enough about him. Although I'm angry and heartbroken that he left way too soon, I find peace in the comfort and the fact and all the memories and good times that we shared that I know always carry. I'm thankful to God that he created David, although I think Mom Judy had a little to do with that also. In closing, I'll always carry him closely, and I love him, and I'm faithful that I'll see him again someday.
Boy, how you follow that. Thank you for every visit, every text, every email, every call that has kept us going over the past 6 days. And most of all, thank you all for being here today to celebrate David's life. He liked the crowd. He always liked to be the center of the crowd, so I'm pretty sure we've done okay. To look around this room is to know, and all the people in it, is to know how loved David was. David was a collector. He collected people, all people. His mother frequently quips that David had friends that owned bridges and friends that lived under bridges. Didn't matter to him. That's how he rolled. He loved people, and people, well, most people loved him. I met David and a number of other people in this room almost 50 years ago. We had a little biker posse in a coastal area where our parents had summer homes. And we spent our days riding motorbikes and our evenings walking around. Not really going anywhere in particular, just walking around. Over the years, those friends became family, and the family only grew as we all had children, and David continued to collect people. The people here today, our village. David didn't get a long life, but he packed a lot of time into his 57 years. He was a stay-at-home dad before that was even a thing, and he loved that job the most. David also loved his toys. As a child, his mother called him David, buy me something Smith. Whether it was the cereal he wanted someone to buy to get the trinket in the box, or something he saw in the Sears catalog, David, buy me something Smith was there for it. In all candor, David never really outgrew his love for toys, although the toys got more expensive. One of his favorite toys was a broken down 68 Camaro that he and Cameron completely restored. I say completely restored, although I've learned over the last 5 years that a classic car is never really done, because there's always more stuff to put on it. And that stuff is expensive. David also loved his boats. I say boats in the plural because apparently you can't just own one boat, but you need multiple boats to do all the things. David was happiest on the boat, in the Keys, doing anything on the water, whether it was fishing with the boys or hanging out at the sandbar. David just wanted to be on the water. It has occurred to me over the past few days as we've shared stories that maybe David only pretended to like fishing so that he could be on the water. Cameron remarked the other night that David rarely had a fishing rod in his hand. Although he never missed the photo op with the big fish. One of his favorite catches, although I honestly don't know whether it was his catch or someone else's, is the photo of the Goliath remembrance card, which I was only informed a few days ago was an illegal patch. That actually made it seem all the more appropriate to use because David didn't follow the rules, but rather liked breaking them. Although he was mostly on his best behavior when I was around, he viewed the rules and a good number of laws as guidelines. He also liked to play the odds. One of his favorite games as champ was how far can I get on an empty tank of gas? A game that he lost almost as much as he won. But David didn't care. He was not somebody to worry. He didn't worry about anything. Nor did he plan anything. As Katie got ready to move to Colorado a few weeks ago, David was tasked with finding a brand new white Bronco. Less than 48 hours before she was scheduled to leave, no Bronco had materialized, and apparently the search for one had not even begun. When Katie expressed how stressed she was, her father said to her, "Relax, we're not looking for a unicorn." Just 24 hours later, the Bronco was secured, and while there was no particular reason for him to go, David figured he would jump into the Bronco as well because it sounded like fun, and David liked to have fun. And they had a lot of fun on that adventure, and that was a gift. Although it's way too soon to be saying goodbye to the person that I've loved for close to 40 years, I have a lifetime of memories that include David. And while I'm certain it will not be anytime soon, I know that the day will come when those memories bring a smile to my face before they bring a tear to my eye. And I wish you.
I'd like to thank you all for coming today. Standing room only. I'd be proud. Look, my father was my best friend, my biggest inspiration. Every day I aspire to be a little bit more like him. Some of the best memories I have of my dad are spent on the boat, usually with a fishing pole in my hand and Turkey Hill iced tea. As my mom said, I was never really sure if my dad liked fishing because I could probably count on one hand the number of times he actually had a rod in his hand. Maybe we did so much fishing because of how much I loved it. Maybe he liked watching me get all pissed off when we wouldn't catch any fish. But I think the real reason he loved fishing was because of all the hours he got to spend out on the boat with his boy. I never forget going offshore in the Whale. It was a sketchy ass boat. One motor, built in the 80s, a gas gauge that didn't work. And we were out there one day, about 2,400 foot of water, about 40 miles offshore. He looked at me and said, "Oh shit. Yeah, I know, we're getting wet. The storm's coming in here." He said, "Well, yeah, there's that too, but the fuel gauge depends on empty." I was like, all right. So he started running in. I'm sitting there soaking wet. We assumed the fuel gauge was just a wire. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, bud, why don't you go climb down in the cabin there so you won't get soaking wet and shivering?" I said, "Dad, we don't have a cabin." I said, "Yeah, now you know what to ask Mom for Christmas." No matter what we were turning wrenches on, whether it was the boat, or the Camaro, or whatever else we managed to get ourselves into, just about everything I learned about turning wrenches came from my pop. Now, I'd like you to take that with a grain of salt, because he wasn't the best with the wrenches. But he had a group of buddies that had the knowledge and the expertise to push him along the way. So between his jerry rigging and their expertise, I might just make it out all right. I'm very thankful for the people that my father has given me over the years. I know no matter what corner I get backed into, I'll always have somebody there to let me out of it. That's probably the biggest gift I could ever ask for. I know my father was proud of the man I was becoming. I will make it my life's goal to make sure that when he looks down upon me, I continue to give him reasons to be proud. But more than anything, I thank him for everything he's taught me, for every day on the boat, for every project we probably had no business trying to fix ourselves. For every laugh and every lesson and every person he's brought into my life. More than anything, I thank him for being my dad and my best friend. And the man I will spend my life trying to be a little bit more like. Pops, I promise to take care of the boats and the car, not to drive too fast. I promise to always aspire to be a better man just like you. Keep a level head and always find some spare time to fish. Most of all, I promise to take care of your girls when you're away. Till we meet on the water again, I love you, man.
I know that a few of you have been asked to share a memory or a story. I would encourage you to come up front to do that. You can stand if you prefer it where you are, but this is being live streamed, and it would be better for everyone who's watching on live stream to be able to see you and make sure that you can hear it. So are there those of you who have been asked?
Hi, I'm Mary Lou. I'm David Dan, Judy's sister. David had a lot of friends, didn't he? And some of them, new friends, he brought home with him. I hope I can get through this. I love David. He was a good guy. He was a great guy. And he loved to talk. It reminds me, you know, the last couple of days I've been thinking, I don't know why I didn't ever see it before, but that's like how my father was. My father was a talker, and he would talk to anybody. And I remember when I was little, it was so embarrassing. My friends would say, oh, I was talking to your dad. I'm like, oh my God, what is that? But David was like that too, and but just outgoing. And you know, I'm really grateful that I've been cleaning their home for quite a number of years, every Tuesday. And, you know, recently David's been down to Keys, so I hadn't seen him in over a month. And the day before they went to Colorado, I saw him. And, you know, the big garage door is open, and, you know, I come in like normal, and David's in his office, you know, sitting on the steps, smoking a cigarette, going through his phone, either making a deal, buying something, selling something, or looking at things that he can buy and sell. And he stood right up and came over and gave me a hug. And, you know, David wasn't like normally a big huggy guy. I mean, he would hug at Thanksgiving dinner and stuff like that. But that's the memory that I'm holding on to, because that was the last time I was able to hold him, to give him a hug. I'll tell you a short one and then a long one. So the short one was, so when I came over there, at first I had a really old car, and, you know, I forgot to put oil in it sometimes, and it was like 268,000 miles on it. David would say, have you checked the oil? And I'm like, not recently. And he'd say, you know, Cameron, go out and check her oil. And it was always low. And then one time I remember telling him, you know, that I look, that I'm on 3 cylinders. You know, that the mechanic told me I'm on 3 cylinders, and he goes, you can still drive that car on 3 cylinders. And I said, yeah, I'm aware, but you can't overtake anybody on Route 30. You have to get back in the slow lane. So that's how I found out. So I got a new car, Sonata, Hyundai Sonata, which I just love. And David, you know, got in the car and he's like, oh man, this is a nice car, looking at the pedals. You got racing pedals, you know, and stuff. And he's throwing out all these words, and I'm like, David, it's lost though now, I don't know what you're talking about. But at one point I said, David, I have to get new tires. And Dave goes, oh, I got a guy. David had a lot of guys. So he had a guy who had a garage. He may be here today. Who will sell tires. You have to be careful. He didn't steal them. So the plan was, I came over to clean, and I gave David my credit card and the keys to the car, and David went and got 4 tires on the car, and he comes back, and If you can drive that car without holding on that steering wheel for like a mile. I'm like, David! He was like, what, you know? So here's the longer story. So we had tradition of going down the beach. I mean, I only went to one of them. We used to, like the big family used to get together and get in the cars riding on the beach. I guess it was Cape Henlopen. And, you know, I remember the year before my sister Kathy telling me how much fun it was, and I was like, I want to be part of that. So the next year, Judy goes, well, you can. Just, you know, we'll tell you the date when you come. So I came. And we're all on the beach having fun, great food. And Scotty and David, I think, took Alan and Matt to go go-kart. I almost said golf cart, I knew it. But anyway, go-kart riding. So they left the beach. And then a little while later, sorry Judy if I embarrass you, but Judy and I had to go to the bathroom. So we used the restroom up on the dune. That was when it was not illegal. But anyway, we were up there and we had a vantage point of the other side of the hill, and Judy goes, what's Scotty and David doing? And I'm like, I don't know, I can't really tell, but, and Judy goes, well, it don't look good. It looks like they're, you know, they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. And so with that, we come down and we're sitting and Bob's laying down on the lounge chair, and my son, Matt, who I don't know if he was even more older than 10, 11, 12, and he comes up with his smile from ear to ear, real sheepish look, and trying to look around. He's looking for Bob's keys, and Regina goes, what are you looking for? And Matt goes, oh, a soda. And Regina goes, well, the cooler's over there. But really what he was doing was he was looking for Bob's keys, and somehow he found them, but still went over and got a soda. I love that follow through. And then he left. And then a couple minutes later, Bob's new truck comes riding across the sand and then goes out the exit. And Bob sits up and he goes, is that my new truck? And Regina's like, no. It wasn't his new truck. They forgot to take the air out of Scotty or David's truck and got stuck. So they got Bob's new truck and had to push their truck with Bob's truck. And then Black Flies came, and we were all wrapped up in as many clothing pieces that we could find because we were getting bitten alive. And Judy went to Bob and she goes, Bob, I don't know what you have to do to get us off this beach. Like, get us off this beach. And Bob goes, I can do that, but I don't want them all coming to my house because there's too many of them. And Bob says, well, my dad, Percy's, he's in PA, he's not at his house, so we'll just go over there. And with that, we say no more. We packed up as fast as lightning and all flew into his dad's park driveway. And with that, the community golf cart police all converged on us because they thought we were robbing Percy. And I was like, no, it's my father, it's my father. But, and then we, you know, proceeded to have another good night, barbecue at Percy's house with the person out there. And it was just, you know, one of those memories like Scotty and David, you know, I call it, I know I'm sure there's a newer word for it, but shenanigans. They were always up to something. They were always up to something. And, but to be able to tell those stories and just know that David, it's not like he sought out to do things, to do shenanigans, but David figured, well, I want to, and I could definitely relate to it, well, I want to go from A to B, and I'm going to have to do this and that to get there, and so he figured out how to do it, and he just, you know, it was a life well lived, you know, no matter what, it was a life well lived, and I am still not fully feeling it yet, and I know I will at some point in time. I love him, and I am so grateful to have known him, and I'm sorry for your pain and loss. Thank you.
great group. Just to show you how great everybody loved David, including me. How I met, well, David is part of the family, but Judy unfortunately had a divorce, and she would come over our house for dinner maybe once or twice a month, and she put me out in my living room. And she said, "Listen, I don't think Scotty and David are getting the right information from my ex-husband Mike." And I said, "Well, what would you like me to say?" She said, "Well, I'd really like you to talk about the birds and the bees." So,
I remember this
yeah, so,
table right there in the old house.
you can come in and finish this. So I had David and Scotty at our dinner, and Regina and Judy disappeared. So I sat down in the chair again, and I looked at the two of them, and I said, "Listen, guys, I'm wondering if you talked about the birds and the bees yet." And David said, "What do you want to know, Papa?" And what do you want to know? I'm thinking to myself, I better ask Regina. Because they're like our kids. And it started off at probably at age 4 or 5. David was on the floor, and I'm playing with him, hitting him, pushing him. He turns around, he goes crazy, starts punching the heck out of me. I said, "What's going on?" He says, "Nobody touches me."
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob, yeah. So, that was a good one. I'm going to tell one of my wife, said, "Oh, don't do that, don't do that." And what happened here is we were in an apartment in Broomfield, Pennsylvania, and I'm in the kitchen helping cook breakfast, and all of a sudden, very stupidly, because we didn't have any children at that time, and I was working night crew, and I didn't want her to be by herself at night. So I had my dad was a lieutenant in the police force in Upper Darby, and he said, "You gotta have a gun for her." So I did, and I had it in the drawer. Next thing I know, I'm turning around with her, I think it was scrambled eggs or something, and I see Scotty, and he goes, "David." And I looked at David, and I said, "Oh my God, David, put that down."
What did he say to you?
He said, "Stick 'em up, Papa." Uncle Bob. And I said, "Whoa, David, stay calm." He's wait a minute, but fortunately, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And he took pretty good care of me. I think that was it.
All right, Bob, good job.
Unfortunately, I'm going to say a few words too. I'm one of the hands, which we all know there's too many of. And we would get together and have these, it used to be Sisters Weekends, and then it turned into, it was Girls Weekend, and now it's Sisters Weekend. But David had an uncanny ability to show up to almost every single Sisters Weekend. And we would say, "Oh, David, what's going on? What are you doing here?" And he would say, "I didn't know this was the weekend." So the reason we think he showed up was he wanted to be there and he wanted to, see everyone. But all of us have a reputation, the sisters, of being pretty good cooks. And we would bring appetizers, like you would pay top dollar for it. And that's what he wanted. He wanted to come and sit and laugh and eat. So when he started doing that, we decided, Just one more story. Another time we were out, he had us all tubing. And his mother couldn't get back up onto the boat because she couldn't manage the ladder or whatever the problem was. And he put the anchor down, he comes to the back of the boat, he goes, all right, Mom, he puts down his hands, he goes, on 3. 1, 2, 3, and he pulls her up in her bathing suit. He dropped her like a hot plate. Turned around to all of us and he said, I'm out of here. But it's things like that that are going to get all of us through this a little bit. Because he had a way of just causing trouble, loving trouble, making us love it too. And we all loved him. I mean, there's nothing else that can be said. You know, David lived his life. He was an awesome person. He's a great husband, a wonderful dad. And I saw that right from the very beginning. And we all love him very much, and we're going to miss him. Thanks.
I have to bring someone up with me to say about the story of David, because I sort of have memory, and you'll understand why I just really have too much memory. So this was a day, of course, it includes the boat in Key West and our 2 families. Kids were probably how old were you? 13. So Katie, Cameron, Donna were out in the water. No, before we got out, the second incident. We're driving the boat with David and Donna and the family, and all of a sudden, we get pulled over by Coast Guard.
I think there's a photo of it.
There is.
And
And you're reading,
you
right?
know, we're just like, cool. You know, this happens all the time, because, you know, we didn't really realize what was going on. And it was kind of awkward because they get on the boat and then they speak with David, but then there was another Coast Guard kind of asked us questions, and in hindsight, we was like, was he like scanning us to see if we were being tracked or something? Like, whatever. But anyway, it was great because they go to around the bus, on the boat, and David just was so calm and like, this happened every day. I didn't think it was something abnormal. Well, that day, I think the life jackets, we only had like 4 life jackets for like 10 people, and then the flares were from 1988. So that was that. And then, no big deal, we go to what, I forget what the sandbar was. And so I stay on the boat because I used to work at a bait and tackle store, and I do not get in the water because I know it's in there. So I'm afraid of the creatures in the water, but probably that day I should have gotten in the water. So Donna, Katie, I think Cam, they were all in the back of the boat, and I was at the front, and there was a cooler, and Sophie, you were on the boat with me, right? And David. And all of a sudden, I think David looked back and saw that the back of the boat was filling with water. And so all of a sudden, I'm panning in the front, and you hear David yell, "We gotta get this thing up! Get the anchor, Susan!" And I'm like, what? What the hell? Get the anchor. So tell you that there's not one moment in my life that I can tell you that David projected or was disheartened with me. He was fun. Now, I mean fun, and I think what we're saying, he took each moment, and he also believed that he could just make it work. So if anything for this, that because there's no sense, seriously, I'm all just a little kind of foggy about it. But the one thing that he gave me this week was nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. The stress that I wanted to conjure up in my head, make things are so rough. One thing this week, it all dissipated. And it just, being here with the most wonderful group of people, and this all represents who David was. That's the gift that I'm going to take, and however this unfolds for all of us, this process, and it's unique for all of us, I'm just going to take each day, and what the minister said is, weep when I have to weep. Remember his piercing blue eyes, just staring at you, that beautiful grin, and just, have fun, and we can just have. So I love you all because you are part of his life, and we'll just take each step together through this uncertainty and thing called life.
Obviously, there's a lot more to be said, and I hope you'll keep saying it. It occurred to me as everyone was speaking, and we all were, and I didn't know David. I'm new to the group. I feel like I know David. I feel like there's an energy that is filling this room that is David. And it occurred to me, you're sad. You're deeply in grief because David isn't here, but David is here because he's in you, and he will always be. A part of him will always be with you. I don't know if you picked up a copy of the prayer card, the one with the illegal fish. It's a wonderful. I've never seen the poem that's on the back, and some of you anglers out there have seen this before. But I love the last two lines. The last three lines. When I'm peacefully asleep, that in His mercy, in God's mercy, I'll be judged as big enough to keep. Yeah, David, you are. David, you are in the presence of God. That's our hope today. Remember with gratitude, comfort each other, turn to God as you can for that help, and hold on to the hope that David will be waiting for you when your time comes, and that it will be with a big smile and laugh, and it'll be as it always has been. I want to invite us now to turn to God for help by saying the Lord's Prayer together. If you're so inclined, I would like to invite you to join with me in saying the Lord's Prayer just as collectively as many of you would like to, as a way of expressing our hope that God will help us in our grief. So if you know it, say it. If you know part of it, say that. If not, just listen with faith. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May God's peace be with each one of you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matthew.
First of all, thank you all for coming. To clear the air once again, 31 years, this is the only fish I've ever seen him actually be close to. more stories because a lot of them can stay in Key West. Everyone is dismissed.
you.